Okay, so now I think I can officially say hi. And today I will have a session called Sharing Your Geospatial Knowledge in the Open. And this session will be slightly different from the ones that you've got during the whole week, because during the whole week you've got a lot of materials from the lecturers, most often on Open, on GitHub, and so on, that you can usually you are able to install something, you are able to see the slides and so on. And in short, I have nothing prepared except those 3 pages that I wrote yesterday. And that's the stuff I will show you and discuss. So it will be largely improvised, but at the same time, I welcome all of the questions. So if you have any questions, just interrupt me, and I will try to answer the question as best as I can. The whole idea of the session is basically just give you a very, very brief overview about this topic, about how to share your knowledge with other people. And I try to do that in my work, so I hope it will be useful for some of you. So maybe, as I mentioned, I don't have a presentation for this session. So maybe let's start making one. Why not? Sometimes it's usually it's better to have a presentation made before your talk, but we can do something new. So maybe I'll start a new RStudio session. I don't even have a directory for that, so maybe that would be a good place to start. Oh, and I am very well organized, so I have a folder called conferences, and then I can open a new folder which I will call AGH 2023, and that will be my new project. And I probably made that wrong. I probably should do it this way. But that's how I roll. Okay, so I will have a new, fresh RStudio project, and then yeah, let's start making slides. So if I just add a new file, you can see on the list there are some few things, and I can, for example, create a Quarto presentation. And they asked me for the title of my talk. I have very short memory, so I don't remember the title of my talk. Gladly, it's online, so in the open, so I can just copy and paste the title of my talk. So we have a title of my talk. I know my name, that's good, hopefully. And so let's create the template of the slide. What else we can do? I can also add a date, just to remember myself that today is the 1st of September. And there is a template, but yeah, I don't like it, so just remove it. So let's maybe start with a short introduction and maybe just save the file for later. And that's important, and you'll see later why. But I will call this file index.qmd. And now just let's check if it works or not. So just let's render the document. And after a few seconds, we have first title slide. So yeah, it's kind of nice. 5 minutes in the talk, and we already have the first slide. And we partially even have the second one. So who am I? And again, I can just go online and just search for myself, or just type the address. So basically my name.com, and there is you can see my face there. And this is my website, basically. So probably it would be nice to just add that to my slide, that I can just use that in the future. And now I just re-render the slide, and I have a slide with my URL. Probably I want to make this URL active, so I will add those. And yeah, it's better and better. So as you can see, I'm an assistant professor at this university, at Adam Mickiewicz University. I work mostly in geocomputation, but I mostly apply the geocomputation also to environmental science. But you can also see that I have some panels there, and probably we can start with the publications one, because there is a book cover. Yeah, there's a book cover of the geocomputation of our book, which was also written in the open. So from the first sentence we wrote, the book was written in the open. But I'm also working on a few other projects, and in last year, or maybe that was even early this year, we rebranded ourselves slightly, and we called the whole idea GeoComp X, like geocomputation, and the X is like a field letter that you can just put everywhere, everything you want there. And you can see that we have the R book, we have the Python book, we have the blog post, and a few other things. So that's another website you can find some information and some of my work. So let's add that to my slide. And of course, you've seen that we have the R book, we have the Python book. So why not just add them to the list. The URLs are fairly easy to remember. And let's render the slides. So Control-Shift-K, and then you see I have something like this. So hopefully already you can see that I have my website done in the open. I have some resources, materials. You can also see that on my website, I also have the presentation tab, which is full of slides from my previous presentations and workshops, sometimes with videos. I also have projects. So in the projects tab, I mostly list the software I made. And the software, the house for the software is usually GitHub. So if I click on this package, you'll go to the GitHub web page of the software, and then you can jump into this rabbit hole, because then you can go to the website of the software, and then from the website of the software you can go to some vignettes, and then you can just try to read that and run the code, etc., etc., etc. So why I'm showing you this, just to give you like a short introduction to the whole idea of working in the open. Most of my daily work is done in the open. I'm not saying all, but most. So that's all about me. But then we maybe could also try to think about very simple question, and the question is why? Like, why should we even share the stuff we do? So you are do the thing, you are writing the code, you are writing the text, you do the thinking. So why should you even share that? So I thought about a few ideas of that. So so one idea is maybe just to give back. So you know that you are learning, you are developing yourself, you are improving yourself, and you are often, I assume, are using open materials. So basically, you can also give back to other people by sharing your work, by sharing your ideas, by sharing your software, by sharing your thoughts. So that's probably, I think, one nice reason to share and work in the open. But you know, that's not the only one. In the last few days, there was a phrase said many times, and the phrase was open science. So that's another idea, that we can put our mind and ourselves in this like movement, open science movement, feel of ourselves as a part of this community in that movement. But I prefer to do something different. So I think the better thing is just to say that we are part of science. Working in the open is the part of science. Because our goal is to create knowledge, expand, develop, be better, understand more. So that's science. It's not open science, it's science. But again, those are some reasons I was able to think yesterday, but there are some more. So another thing I was able to consider is basically to learn. And I will even change the style of the slide, because a few days ago on Twitter I've seen something like this. I don't know if I'll be able to zoom that enough, but yeah. So you can see this is the retention rate of learning. Of course, like all of the science, there are some controversies about this pyramid, and probably it's not universal for everyone, but hopefully you can see that regular lecture is very hard to remember everything. But gladly, this is not a regular lecture, it's a demonstration. So right now our retention is slightly better, but look at the bottom of the pyramid. Teaching others is the best way to learn. And this idea of teaching others as a way to learn is very nice, because it's more about ourselves. It's not about those huge ideas of science and to giving back to others. is much more about ourselves. So if we just want to do something for ourselves, we can just do that. So I just save the image from Twitter, and I just put that into this subfolder. So I can just add that to my slide. So and yeah, usually there are several ways to do that, but I like the control over that with knitr. So I can just add the figure. Then you can see I have it here. Maybe I would prefer to have it on the center of the slide. And you can see, yeah, my presentation is getting better and better. So then I've thought about some other possible reasons to share. Another one was fame and money. But probably compared to many other industries, that's not exactly the case.
Free coffee.
Yeah, free coffee maybe, but free coffee is not actually free. So, so if you are doing that for fame, maybe there's like a local fame there. If you do that for money, probably there are many more things that you can do if you actually need more money. And there is a last very simple thing I was able to consider. It is just to share stuff. Like when we talk, we just like our regular discussions during coffee breaks. What are they? They're just sharing our thoughts. We are doing that like in total oblivion. That's the part of humans. So why not? Why not do that in the open? Why not share the work just to share it? And don't care about anything else, about fame, money, about open science, about giving back, about learning, just sharing that. So that's that. And okay, so now for the last 15 minutes, you were able to see some examples and some ideas. But I also showed you at the start, I also showed you my website. Because, you know, okay, we were discussing that, yeah, let's work in the open. So how to do that? How to make things that we are developing available to other people? One way is to have a website. And I can give you even a nice example for this summer school, because to attend to the summer school, you applied, and many more people applied that we were able to accept. And then when I was looking at the list, I needed to find a way how to accept people and so on and so on. One of the things I've done, at least for when I was like on an edge between like accepting or not accepting, was looking people online. And you know, sometimes it was some of you are very visible. You have your own websites, you have your own GitHub accounts, you have your social media, etc., etc. For some of you, you have maybe a website on your department website. Maybe you have a paper published, and then for some of you, there is nothing. And it's really hard in those cases to know your work and learn about your work and expand upon your work if nobody can find it. So that's why you can see this is a website, and the same as I showed you, that's another one, the website of composing of ideas around geocomputation with R, with Python, and so on. And to create such a website, you can see that's probably some work to be done, but it's not probably that this work is actually not that demanding. So let's try to create a new website. So again, just to do that. So for the presentation, I use the ideas. Maybe I should mention that before. I use the ideas with the software called Quarto. So if you haven't heard about that before, but you use Jupyter notebooks or R Markdown. Basically, the idea of Quarto is to have one set of ideas that you can use to create websites, but also to create books, presentations, articles, and many other things. And it works natively with Python, R, Julia, and some others. So we can do a lot of things. So I already have the Quarto installed and so on. So if you are interested in that, you of course need to start by doing that. I think actually Quarto is also installed automatically with newer versions of RStudio. And then I can go to the terminal, and in terminal I can type Quarto. I think it's create. Yes. And then I'll get a question. Should I create a project or extension? So in this case, I'm creating a project, and then there's a default website, blog, book, and Confluence. So I want to create my own website. So let's start with that. And I need to specify what's the directory I will use. So in this case, I'll just go one directory up, and I'll just create a OGH 2023 website. And then some files were created, and I have a new project. So I'll go there. It's here. So it will open shortly. And then we'll be able to try to maybe work with this website for a moment. You can see that this website is actually consists of just a few files. So that's nice because you can start small. And maybe that's in general important thing to say. You don't need to start big. Start small. Just have a website, and then you can think of how to add new stuff there. And you can see basically that the most important files, we have a Quarto YAML, we have about QMD, we have index QMD, and styles. So I'm definitely today not talking about CSS and so on. That's not the place for that. And the default style is okay. So let's maybe go to index. That's the most important. And here you can see this render button. And if I just clicked on the render button, after a few seconds, I have a website. So I can move that website to the browser to just show you that website in the larger font. But you can see I have the home and about panels on the top. And now I can just customize my website. So for example, I can change the title of my website. So instead of having some kind of a path, I can say like, oh, the best website in the whole room 21. Yeah, I need to be ambitious, but not too ambitious. To know your limits. And then we could add some text. Maybe we could add some some photos, links, and so on. So maybe I will add just link to the GeoComp X website. Why not? And now if I go back to this one, you can see this is the best website in the whole world. And of course, I can also play the same with the about file. So in the about file, I can mention that maybe this website was made during the OpenGeoHub Summer School 2023. And then you can see that we already have a simple website. And of course, the only problem of this website at the moment that I can think of is that it's our local host. So this website only lives on our computer. So maybe let's change that. So I mentioned already more than once the GitHub web page or the GitHub platform website. And on GitHub, so I'm of course logged into GitHub, and this is how I look, how I see my GitHub page. And of course, just to let you know, GitHub is just one of the possible ways to do that. There is another website called gitlab.com. They're also great, and a few others. So it's up to you to decide. And now I just need to create a new repository. So I will create a new repository for my website. And I think it was called. So I have a new repository. Let's create this repository. So basically what I've done here, I just created some empty space on the GitHub platform. And now I just need to move the website I've made online. So how can I do that? I can just follow the instructions. So look, if I know how to do the quick setup, I am almost done. But if not, I need to follow some other things. So if I go back to my website, you can see there is no Git folder. Without Git folder, it means that we cannot send that online. So the option for us is more or less the second one. So probably we should start by initiating the Git repository. And then we could maybe for the simplicity, I will just reopen this this R project, because then probably we'll get the new panel in RStudio, so that will be easier for you to follow. But in general, now we need to add the files that we will send online. So you can see we have a new Git panel. And now I just want to add all of those files. So Control-A, I'm adding the files, and then I'm saying just that this is the start of my website. And then I need to just create a branch, connect that branch to the online website. So the last 3 rows. And then when I'm connected to my website, I just need to do the push. So basically, I need to send the website online. Okay, so now let's go back to GitHub, F5. So my website, now you can see it looks different because my website is on this repo. So are we done? Almost. Now we just need to say to GitHub that I want to publish the web page. So to do that, we need to go to settings, we need to go to pages, and here there are some questions: deploy from branch, and then which branch. So in our case, we only have main branch, and then we can select, should we deploy from the root or docs? So in our case, probably we need to change some settings, because in our case, we have site, not docs. And I probably should try to look at how to do that. But in general, this is how we work. This is how we can make it happen. So why not? Let's go to the Quarto website and look for the answer. So on the Quarto website, you'll be able to see many things that are possible. And I think that Quarto documentation has its pros and cons. The pros is that you can read about everything that Quarto can do. And the cons are you can read about everything Quarto can do. It's a lot. So you can see here that you can read about how to publish different things. And you can see that basically to change the output directory to docs, we just need to edit the Quarto YAML file. And as you've seen, I found that in 10 seconds. And just to underline that, I'm still improvising. I've never tested that before. So let's go to Quarto YAML. You can see we've got this project website, but you can change that, the output directory to docs. Let's also change the title of the website to something more impressive. And let's re-render our website so that it has the most up-to-date version. And now you can see we've got the new docs folder. So we've got new docs folder, and docs folder contains all of the files from our website. So I need to send my files online. So I'll call that version 2. And now I will just click push. So I will send the changes online. All right. So I think we are almost done with our website. So let's go back to pages. Now you can see that here we have a new folder called docs. And so what's the difference between our files here and the docs folder? Because the Quarto and similar systems are basically static websites. What does it mean? It means that we write our website in Quarto, so in Markdown, and then when we click render, it basically processes everything into HTML. So inside of the docs folder, you can see we've got index.html and a few other files. So now when I'm back in settings, I can go to pages, I can go to branch, change none to main, and change root to docs and save. So now what will happen, it does that my new website will be on this URL. So it will be my main URL plus the name of this repository. And it's not here, no site not found, but don't worry. I think it usually takes like a minute or two to work. And you can even see this brown dot. So this brown dot here means that it's still being rendered and deployed online. But I think that we should be able to see it ready very, very shortly. So in the meantime, I will mention, I want to show you some other things, so I'm not going to jump into it. But I will mention that this is a very simple website. And so in this website, it's very, very easy. It's just about sharing your work. So basically, we have those two panels, home and about. And then maybe I also want to add new panel. So how can I add a new panel? To add a new panel, I basically just need to add a new file. And maybe that's my new panel is a list of my publications. So my publications. And then I could list some paper there and so on. And I will call this file pubs QMD. And now I need to do one more thing. In Quarto YAML, the Quarto YAML is to the general file that you can customize to change your website. So you can see that there is a nav bar, so navigation bar on the left, and it contains the index and about. So what I can do, I can maybe just add my pubs QMD here. And now I can just re-render the whole website. And I will again show the website in the browser. And now you can see there's the pub QMD. Yeah, probably there's a typo. I think I've made pubs. That's exactly right. And again, re-render. Let's go to the browser. And now you can see there is my publication sub website. And you can list your publications or list your software, list your presentation of the conferences, I don't know, the photos of the stuff you needed or your soccer team, whatever. So that's how it works. So let's maybe try our website once more, and it's online. So now you can see this is not, I know it's hard to see from the last rows, but basically it's online. It's not on the local host. And you can see this is the older version. I haven't pushed the new changes yet, but it works. So hopefully you can see that this is a very low hanging fruit. At least the core, because of course, then you can spend days and weeks and months just improving the style of your website and testing 29 best fonts ever. And just changing the color slightly to make it better for you. And then, of course, you can buy 25 different domains and so on and so on. But the whole idea is to start small. So just start small, just start with that, and then you can expand, improve, and so on and so on and so on. Okay, so I have a website. So when I have a website, and I'm actually giving a summer school talk, so let's have a slide. I have a website. And this is the URL of my website. So I'm actually very, very proud. It's 35 minutes in, and we have several slides and a website. So let's just look at my notes, because I have some notes, and of course I'm forgetting stuff, so it's good to have notes. So this website, we can compare this website, for example, to the ones I showed you before, for example, my home website. And one of the differences is that there is post panels in mine. So there is like a different blog posts I wrote, and the same for the GeoComp X website. We have different blog posts, and this is the stuff I find kind of strange in Quarto. So I don't know if I'm doing that the most optimal way, but I will show you how you can create your own blog post place. Because in Quarto, when you click Quarto Create and then Project, you can create either website or blog, and those are two different things. So if you just do blog, and I will just put that into a directory called temp, you will see why in a second. So now I should have, this is the new Quarto post. It also, again, a few files, but the most important is here. So we have a new folder called posts. But if we just open the index, it looks slightly different. It has like listings and so on and so on. So what I usually do, I just rename the index into something like blog. And then I just copy those two folders. So blog and posts. And then I will just paste that into my website folder. And hopefully you'll be able to see why in a second. So now I have a new file called posts, called blog QMD, which is here. And it basically says that the content, so the stuff I will create will be in the posts folder, so here. And there are some other settings, like how the list of blog posts will look like, and so on and so on. Again, you can spend weeks customizing those. And when you go to the post folder, you will see actually two posts already written. So you can just edit them and customize them. There is also some metadata that you can also play with. But again, maybe that's too much for us. So just let's start by re-rendering our website and looking at how it looks right now. Our website looks exactly the same. Do you know what I'm missing right now?
Clearing the YAML.
Yeah, exactly. I need to edit the YAML. I need to add. I need to add my my new QMD. So my new QMD is blog QMD to the YAML. And now, again, index Q. I render that. I go to my web browser, and now look, I have the post panel. And now if I click here, I have those previously made posts, the template one. And you can, again, delete them or read them or change them, customize them, and so on and so on. So you can become very old school. You can become a blogger. It could be still 2006 or something. I still assume that all of you were born before that. So yeah, so this is how we can expand, improve, and make our website better. Okay, so I'm actually a very proud owner of the website. So I will just update again my website online. So I will add a note that I added blog to my website. And then now, when I push that, after another minute, my website online will be updated. So I don't need to worry about anything more. So hopefully in a minute or two, I'll be able just to refresh this. And then it will contain all of my new panels and so on and so on. Okay, so I've showed you this. I've showed you that you can create, all of you can create our website. So that's, I think, sharing, working in the open. Because you are the experts. You are working with different ideas, different fields, different tools. So you should have the content. I'm only giving you the tools on how to share that in the open. And it's 11:40, so probably that's too early for a lunch. So let's try another idea. So I mentioned that we probably more than once that we've got this GeoCompX website, and GeoCompX website contains links to 2 books. We are either developing or finishing the 2nd edition or working on the 1st edition. There is a slight difference between the technologies they use, because geocomputation with R here, it uses R Markdown and Bookdown, while in the geocomputation with Python, we move to the Quarto system. So this book, again, work in progress, but still I can go to different chapters. You can read those chapters. You can look at the maps. You can zoom in on some interactive maps, and so on. You can see some tables, different styles, subheadings, etc., etc., etc. Okay, so we have a lot of time. So let's write a book. Like, I don't like to waste my time, so let's do that. So again, let's go back. We can again click Quarto Create, Project, and now instead of website or blog, you can go to book. So it asks me to specify directory. Again, I will do the OGH 2003 book. And then it created some template for a book. So let's open this project in a new session.
And that's the one that you use for your book also?
And for the Geospatial with Python, yeah. That's how we roll. Not yet. Maybe in the future for the 3rd edition or 4th edition, 6th edition. We'll see. Or maybe it was just like.
Because you just use a book down or book down.
Yeah, in Geospatial var, yes.
Maybe say what's the difference between book down and Quarto.
Yeah, so the R Markdown, the main difference between R Markdown and Quarto is basically that R Markdown, as the name says, is R oriented. So everything you do in R Markdown goes through R in some way. You can still write Python books in R Markdown, but it will go through R for the rendering and so on and so on. And the idea of Quarto, one of the ideas of Quarto is to be language agnostic or to allow different languages. But the other idea of Quarto, I think, probably for me it's more important, is that R Markdown and the ideas around R Markdown were like being developed and improved and expanded. But as almost everything, there was some chaos inside. So there are different things, like if you want to create a presentation, it's slightly different from creating a website, from creating a book. And Quarto tries to systematize everything. So tries to give you the same tools. So if you understand how to make a book or website or slides with one, then you should be also able to do something different. Okay, so let's write a book, as I said. So now again, just a few files, as you can see here. Probably the most important at first to just look at and get the gist of is again Quarto YAML. So Quarto YAML is our settings of our website. So here I can specify the title of my book. Maybe I will call that the quickest book ever. And then I will specify my name.
The creative juices are all over the room.
And then, yeah, maybe somebody, yeah, because I typed the quickest, and then maybe somebody's also like trying to be quicker than me. So I'll be the 2nd quickest. Maybe I'll just add that. You never know with a group of people like this. And then again, we've got the index QMD. And if we render that, you will see that it will render all of the sub pages. And again, at the end, we will have HTML version of the book. So it took me 3 minutes and I have an online book. It's not online book actually because it's not online yet, but I showed you how to push the website online and it works exactly the same. And you can see that there is a title of the book, there is my name, there is a current date, we have a table of content, we have some text, we can go to other chapters, and so on and so on and so on. Okay, so let's maybe improve that book a little bit. So maybe I'll make this sentence more round. And then I thought for a moment, what should I show you during this this session, and what can I bring to you? And there are some developments in spatial world, so maybe I'll show you some of those that haven't been mentioned during this week, or maybe just were mentioned very briefly. So currently we are working, as I mentioned, we are working on the 2nd edition of Geospatial with R. We are almost done, which means that we have some polishing to do, which means we are not done. But one of the things that we pushed very recently in the Geospatial with R book is the Making Maps with R chapter. So Making Maps with R chapter is about making maps with R. Yes, I think it's a good chapter title. Very descriptive. And for this chapter, and actually for the whole book, we moved to a package that is still being developed, or the version of the package is still being developed. And the package was mentioned by Lorena this morning, called tmap. So the tmap is a package for making maps in R, and the package was created first, I think 9 years ago or so. But now there are some major changes going on with this package regarding both internals of the package to make it easier for people to develop new ideas and add new visualization styles, but also it changes the syntax of how to create maps with tmap. Maybe I should also mention that it should be more or less backup compatible. So if you are already using tmap, you should be fine without any changes, more or less. But this is still version in the development. So this whole chapter, and actually the whole book, Geospatial with R. So even if I go to chapter number 6, and in chapter number 6 is raster vector interactions, all of the maps are also done with tmap version 4. So I thought, yeah, so we are here, so let's write a book about tmap version 4. So what do we need to do that? Probably we should start by maybe attaching some packages. So in R we probably should have a SF package or Terra package. That would be nice. We could also, it would be nice to have some example data sets. For those of you who haven't tried that, you probably also should start by installing actually the tmap version 4. So it's on the GitHub branch. So it's r tmap/tmap at v4. I should have the most current version, so I cannot install it, but that's for you. And now I will just say that if I'm going to render the website, I don't want to install this package again and again. So I just added information, eval equals false, which will mean that don't calculate this code chunk. And then, of course, probably I should also add the tmap version 4 here. And we have message from Roger. That's nice. So now let's maybe play with tmap for a second. So inside of SP data package, we have some example data sets, and probably one of the favorite ones that we are using is a data set called NZ, which stands for New Zealand, and probably I still, yeah, I haven't done that. And now we have a map. So the tmap package works in this fashion that most of the times we need to start with tm shape. And shape here means any spatial object. So it could be vector data, but it could be raster data. And then we need to specify how we want this data set to be presented. So here we say, let's present this data set as polygons. But we could also do that. Oh, let's present those, because those are 16 regions in New Zealand. So let's present those as symbols. Or maybe present them as borders. So TM shape is about what we want to show, and then there are different functions to say how we want to present that. All right, so maybe let's go back to the general idea, not tmap, and re-render our book. So now I'm re-rendering the book. I move to the web browser, and you can see the chapter title changed. So now it's tmap version 4. If I click on this tab, hopefully you'll see in a second what we have here. So this is the basic idea how it works. And you can see we have our code, we have some messages, and then we have code again and some maps. And of course, we can play with those. So for example, if I don't like the messages, I can try to maybe do something with it. I can do like message false, but I think it also, I think it's maybe not for the Roger messages, but it's not important right now. So then hopefully now you see that we can do that. We can share those ideas. Oh, it was very nicely. So now you can see that if I refresh, oh, it's even automatically refreshed. Now we have it. And now what I can do, I can, because I have code chunks, so now I can write the book. So I can say like, let's start by installing tmap, and I will maybe bold the tmap version 4. Then attach some packages, and I will be maybe playing with the words a little bit, so ellipses, and create our first map. And again, Ctrl-Shift-K, re-render, and you'll see hopefully in a second that we have a new version of our chapter with some text. So now it's not only about code chunks, but we have some text, code chunk, text, and so on, so on, so on. But you know, when with scientific publishing, there is this this idea that each figure should be referenced and should have captions. So probably we should also do that here. So what can we do? We can just add some options here. So for example, I can just say that label of this figure is fig map 1. And then we can also add fig cap. So our caption, and I will call it my first map. Let's re-render that. And you can see that we have a figure number, automatic figure number, and we have caption below our figure. And what's really important is that now we can reference our figure. So now I can just use brackets and add and say fig map 1. I'm now re-rendering once more. So this is the previous version, create our first map exclamation mark. But now after the re-rendering, you will hopefully see slight change. There is a figure 1.1. I don't know exactly why we don't have that like that, but doesn't matter. The whole idea applies. Okay, so and what else we can do? I've showed you that we can bold things, like because that's a markdown. I can use this double stars for bolding. I can use single stars for italics, but I can also do subheadings. So I can do like intro subheading. And then the subheadings are very important in my opinion, because they serve several roles. One role of the subheading is just to organize your work easier, because it's easier for you to search for things. But the other important thing about subheadings is that then you can see them in the table of of contents. You can see that here on the right. And also you can link to them. So for example, you create some online materials and you have like 3,000 pages, but you only want to show people something you've done on page 500. Then you just send them the link to this subsection you've made. Yeah.
Can you also see a preview of how it looks? Because now you have to render it all the time and can take a while as it becomes.
Yeah, I think there is a way that it could automatically re-render when you save the file. But the rendering part is always there.
Okay, because that takes quite a while.
Yeah, it takes quite a while. I've seen a message from the POSIT team that they know that Quarto is not as fast as it's supposed to be. So that's the plan for the next year to improve the performance. Okay, so now we have this subheading, and what we can also do with subheadings, just let me find it. We can name them, and name them. By naming them, I say that we can basically reference to them. So to reference them, we just need to say like section, and then that's the name of the section, like section intro. And then we can do a new section like my second map. And as mentioned in sec intro, we are going to make some maps. And now let's re-render that. Yeah, of course, this is the example I'm showing you right now, but usually I won't work like that. Usually I want to re-render everything, every other sentence. Usually I'll just work, and at the end of my working session, then maybe I'll re-render. Or usually I'll just push that online and it will be rendered online. But of course, at first, it's nice just to understand how it works. So you can see now on the website, you can see there is a reference. And now if I click on that, I will go to this one. And if I have 78 chapters, I can still click on that and it will move me and show me the other location there. Okay, but I think I need to stop a little bit talking about Quarto because I need to write a book about tmap. So let's go back to that. So I showed you how to create a very simple map. So let's create a slightly more complex map with in our New Zealand data looks like this. So in our New Zealand data, this is a multi-polygon data with 16 multi-polygons, and we have several columns. So we have columns like name, island, land area, population, median income, and so on and so on. So maybe I want to create a map of median income in New Zealand. So how can I do that? So to do that, I'm just using the same ideas. So I'm basically creating a polygon, so TM polygons, but now I say fill the polygons with the value of median income. And now automatically we will get some colors, we will get a legend. Those of you who used tmap previously, there are some new defaults. For example, legend is outside of the map frame. And also, I think maybe that's a good moment. As Lorena mentioned today, we can change the map mode from the default plot to view, and we could have an interactive map. So I can just look at my Zealand, I can turn it on, off, I can change the base maps, and so on and so on. But this is just a side note to let you know. Okay, so we have our New Zealand polygons, but we may want to improve our map somehow. So let's look at my list of what I thought is useful to do. So let's maybe improve that by changing the scale. So here you can see we've got a scale. This scale the color scale is called pretty because it tries to give us pretty separations between values. So they'll be kind of a round ones. So here we have like 22,000 to 24 and so on and so on. But there are different ways to do that. And how it works with tmap is basically, we can go to the documentation to show you that with version 4, we have fill, then we have fill.scale, fill.legend, and fill.free. And those three are the most important. So fill is only about what is the variable we want to show. And then fill.scale is about how the color scale, in this case, will look like. So here, what we can do is fill.scale equals to tm scale. And then if you do that, you will see several options in RStudio. So for example, we can change the color scale from the default discrete with pretty breaks to continuous, for example. So now let's rerun the code, and you can see the previous one looked like this, and now we have the continuous color scale. Maybe I'm not the fan of this color scale. So the colors. So there is a values argument, and I can change that to the spectral color palette, and then I have something different. Maybe also that's not the best one. Maybe just stay with this. Next, I would like to improve the legend. So what I can do? How can I do that? Fill.legend, tm legend, and then I can just change title. And I can say median income USD 2007. I'm guessing it's not the, it's probably that's not the not true, but just to give you the idea. And maybe I can just create a new line to make it more concise. And maybe it would be better to have a legend that is with a different orientation, because by default we have this legend that is like a portrait, and we can do a horizontal one. So we can basically play with those different options and to update the style of our map. But let's go to what else can we do here. So we've got our legend, we've got our colors, we've got our data, and now we can just add some map elements. So for example, we can add tm graticules. So tm graticules is just those graticule lines. So to orient ourselves, to give context to our audience. Then maybe we can also do tm compass, which is just a north arrow. And if you look at the documentation, you will see that we again have several arguments, and one of those arguments is position. So we can specify the position and the position we could do just, let's say, left top. And we just move the north arrow to the left top of the screen. What else can we do? We can add the scale bar. So tm scale bar. And again, it will be automatically calculated, automatically added. We could also do tm title. So tm title is the main title of our map. So I would make my audience impressed. And there is also tm credits. TM credits is nice when you want to maybe add the name of the authors or mention data sources or mention the projection and so on. So I will just specify that this is the OpenGeoHub Summer School 2023. and you will see that it just automatically added. But I can ask all of the things, I can just move them with the position argument. So they could be all over the place. It could be in different locations. It could be moved and so on and so on and so on. All right, so now hopefully you get the main gist of tmap version 4. So let's maybe re-render the book. But in the meantime, you can also hopefully get the idea that writing such a book is just connecting different things. So it's about writing the text, adding a code chunk, then maybe adding some settings to the code chunk. But often writing a book and also the other scientific outputs is not only about writing for the audience, but also writing for your collaborators and co-authors. So often when we work, we communicate with comments. So for example, usually what I do, I will just add my initials and I would say like, oh, this map is bad. We need to change, maybe we need to improve the title. And then I will just hide it as an HTML comment. So now this is HTML comment, and now when I'm rendering the book, this comment will be invisible for the readers. So if you don't believe me that I'm doing those, just go to the source code of Geospatial with R, and you will see a lot of comments. But you can see now, oh, there is nothing below the map. But this is internal stuff. And of course, it's easy to find because just search for my initials. It's not very often that J and N will happen in the same sentence. So that's how you can collaborate. You can contact with your collaborators. I showed you here that we can create maps and figures, but of course that could be more things. We can, for example, create tables or other things. So I could just create a new code chunk, and I can just create a data frame, and the data frame will be very easy because it will be a data frame comparing tmap version 4 and tmap version 3. So it will have two columns. Version, so the column version will be either 3 or 4, and description. So description will be good and better. So we have a such data frame, and now we can just use for a very simple thing, just a cable function from the niche package. We can again render our new chapter. And now after a few moments, you can see that we've got a table in our book. So, and probably if I go to the browser, you can see it here. So we have a table comparing very detailed comparison between version 3 and 4. But of course, why people should see this? That's not important for the audience. So let's hide that. Echo equals to false. We can also add a label. In this case, TBL table 1, and we can add a caption. Probably it's TBL cap. So the caption will be a comparison between tmap v3 and v4. And let's render the book one more time. So now you can see that the code chunk is gone, but instead of the code chunk, we have the title or the caption of the table. So that's nice. And when you do the work like this, do your scientific work, we often should cite and reference other people's work, because most of the time we don't work in total isolation from other people's work. Like I think all of us here, we know what we know because of other people's work. And for that purpose, let's go for a second to Quarto YAML. And in Quarto YAML, you can see there is a bibliography setting that it goes to the reference.bib. So this is a bibtec file, which is here. And it's very simple. It contains just one note about the notebook called Literate Programming. But you can either connect to your own library of like Zotero and so on, or just add the bib representations here. And there are also several other things. But basically, it also contains a key to this reference. So now when inside my book, I will add node 84. So this key. This will be a reference to. Now let's render that. And now, if you look, you can see this will be a reference to node. And what's I think very nice is that if you just go with your mouse, it will show you the reference. So you don't even need to know go to the references. I don't know if about you, but I usually hate that. When I need to click, then I go to the references, then I need to go back, and I forgot what I was checking, and then yeah, I'm like going for a new cup of coffee, and automatically it will be also added to the references list. So maybe just a few closing ideas about books and Quarto books. You can see also we can render to different formats. So by default, we are rendering to HTML, but you can also render to PDFs and few others, and you can customize that as well. Another idea that I should mention is that with RStudio, you've got also something which is called visual editor. So it's here, you can click here, and then you can edit that more like a Word file. I don't use that, but it's possible. You can also add equations. You can also use many different languages. So I only showed R here, but different languages are also possible. Okay, so here you've seen the book. I rendered the book. The book is great. I probably should send that to some publisher. But in the meantime, I'm going to publish this book. So again, we can do exactly the same what we've done previously. So I will start by creating a new repo. So this will be my new repo called OGH 2023 book. I'll create a repository, and then I'll just make sure that the Git is there. And then we will send the changes to Git. So you can see those are the files we created. They're in the book folder. So probably we should also do the same thing we've done previously. So we should change the YAML, and we can check how we've done that before. So before we change that to output dear docs. So let's try that here as well. We probably should re-render the book one more time. And then we will be able to push the book to GitHub. Okay, so it looks like it works. I think it's slightly messy, but I don't care. And then I just need to add a few commits, and then again the source code of the book will be on GitHub. So now let's go back to the GitHub repository. F5, I refreshed, it's here. So I can go to settings, again, pages, branch, change to main, and change those. And hopefully, again, after a minute or two, we'll have a book online. And not only we'll have a book online, but we will have all of the source code of the book online. So we can ask people, do you have some comments? Maybe do you have some suggestions? Maybe there's some typo there. Maybe you can add something new to the book. And they could just copy the stuff here. They can fork the repository. They can add the changes and propose them to be incorporated in this book. So this is how it works. That it's not only about one person sharing their stuff in the open. It's about a lot of people also collaborating and working. Because think about it. If you are reading a book and you like the content, you like the ideas, but every other sentence there is a typo. And you know, I am English is not my native language. I barely managed to write in English. So for sure there are some typos. But if you don't like typos, after a few sentences you'll be just tired. But if you fix them, they'll be fixed for all of the readers. So basically, by fixing your own problem, you will also fix the problem for many other people. So let's look if... Yeah, in a sense, of course, yeah. So now you can see that the book is online. The book is online. It's not on my local repository. It's actually online. Oh, so I have a book online. So maybe I can add that to my presentation. Yay. So, and I have a book. So let's add it. Okay, it's 10 minutes to the end. So probably I should do some closing remarks. So now, yeah. So maybe let's quickly look at that. So yeah, it looks okay. So now you've seen that we've got this book. We've got this presentation. So what should we do with this presentation? Maybe just share that book online, share that presentation online. So let's go to GitHub. Create a new repository. So this one will be called the same as my project. So OGH 2023. Create. And then I already have the Git here, so I'll just need to add all of the files. I need to commit them. And then I need to just run those 3 lines of Git commands to push it online. And now I can go to the GitHub again. I can refresh the website. You can see the source code of the slides are here. But when I rendered the slides, they became HTML. And hopefully you remember that, but more than an hour ago, I said that let's call this file index.html. Why? Because that's how browsers work, that they look for the index file. So that's why we use, index.qmd. And now let's go to settings, to pages, branch, main, and now that we are in the root directory, so just save. So again, I can go to about and automatically add the website. And it should take us. It should take us again a minute or two. And then we hopefully will have the slides online. So let's just wait a second, and then that will be done. So in the meantime, maybe I can tell you a little bit more about how to start. So how can you start? Just install Quarto. Create a GitHub account or GitLab account or some other account. Look at your work, what you can share with others. And then create a website. Actually, you don't even need to have anything to create a website. You are alive. That's enough to create a website. And then you maybe you can create a book. Or you may be like me, and you maybe need to give a talk in front of a lot of people, and you can create a presentation, and you can just look at this presentation and think, oh yeah, now we have a presentation sharing your geospatial knowledge in the open. And it's about me, of course, because I'm the author of this talk, and we discuss why this is important to share. And there are different reasons. And then we discovered that we have a website that works, it's online, and we also have a book that we can share, we can enjoy, and we learned a little bit of tmap version 4 as well. So my final message to you is just share. And just to close, because again, I have some notes and I forgot about them. Very important note that I wrote yesterday is copy others. And by that, I mean, when people are working in the open, you can just look at their repos. Look at the Geocomputation with Arrow, Geocomputation with Python repo, or some other repos, and just use that. Be inspired, copy that. This is the working in the open as well, that you don't need to build everything from the scratch. You can just use what people before you learn, use, and then you can add your own new thing on top of that. Maybe you'll have some new ideas. Maybe somebody will then look at your work and be inspired and use it, hopefully for the greater good. So that's all what I wanted to show you. And I'm very happy that in this hour and a half, we're able to create a website, book, and some presentation. Thank you.